Hey everyone, happy April and welcome back to another episode of Spreading Love for Our Environment. This month we're going to be talking all about birds, and specifically seabirds. As always, I'm Ava and welcome back to another episode of Spreading Love for Our Environment. Let's get right into it. Birds are magnificent creatures that bring beauty and diversity to our environment. However, they are highly susceptible to the negative impacts of pollution. Air pollution caused by industrial emissions and vehicle exhaust can harm birds' respiratory systems and affect their ability to navigate during migration. Additionally, water pollution, particularly oil spills from chemical runoff, can contaminate their habitats, leading to a decline in bird populations and disrupting their natural behaviors. Seabirds, including gulls, terns, and albatrosses, are a vital part of marine ecosystems. They play essential roles in controlling fish populations, distributing nutrients, and contributing to nutrient cycling in coastal areas. Unfortunately, seabirds are particularly vulnerable to pollution, as they often mistake plastic debris for food, leading to ingestion and potential harm to their health. Florida is home to the majestic and iconic pelicans. These magnificent birds, such as the brown pelican, are part of the state's rich coastal biodiversity. They are skilled divers and have a unique pouch beneath their bill to catch fish. However, pelicans in Florida face numerous challenges due to pollution and habitat loss. Pollution, especially plastic pollution, poses a significant threat to pelicans in Florida. When pelicans mistakenly ingest plastic debris, it can lead to serious health issues and even death. Protecting birds, especially seabirds and pelicans, requires collective action. Conservation efforts such as beach cleanups, reducing single-use plastic consumption, and implementing responsible waste management practices can help mitigate the impact of pollution on these magnificent creatures. By understanding the effects of pollution on birds, appreciating the significance of seabirds and pelicans in Florida's ecosystems, and taking proactive steps to protect them and their habitats, we can ensure a vibrant and sustainable environment for both birds and humans alike. Let's cherish and preserve the beauty and diversity of our avian friends for generations to come.
My name is Hannah McDougall, and I'm the Director of Communications at Pelican Harbor Seabird Station. So I'm in charge of all of our kind of outreach and external communications, marketing, so really any kind of outward-facing communications or marketing to be able to spread the work that we do in the community. Pelican Harbor Seabird Station is a native wildlife rehabilitation center, so we are a hospital for all sick, injured, or orphaned native wildlife, with the intention of rehabilitating them and being able to release them back into their natural environments. Miami's really a hotspot for biodiversity, so being able to treat over 150 different species each year, not only are we having an impact on the local biodiversity, but also the biodiversity of the entire coast and the migratory birds that fly along that pathway. And obviously, Miami is a very fragile ecosystem, being so urbanized, so we're really proud to be able to help rehabilitate these animals and reintroduce them back into the wild where they belong. The most common injuries we're seeing are all human related, so whether that's hit by car, flying into windows, cat attacks, a lot of these reasons for admission are anthropogenic, but thankfully that means that we can all kind of take small actions to help prevent them as well. So by keeping your cats indoors, being more cognizant of just the nature around you, and being responsible with recycling, making sure that you're not inappropriately interacting with our wildlife or feeding them. So we can all really just kind of take small steps to be able to help our wildlife. Pollution in kind of all of its forms has a really big impact on our wildlife. It takes a village. It takes a lot of tiny steps towards making our world a better place. So whether that's attending an ocean cleanup, just being more responsible, educating others as well, being able to share what you learn, whether it's keeping your cats indoors or being really cautious about if you're leaving food out, and if there's wildlife in the area that you might be attracting, maybe close to a road. So just really educating yourself, and then going ahead and educating your community around you as well, just to be more aware of the wildlife around you and more intentional in your actions.
Hey guys, in this episode we've been talking all about seabirds. which flamingos are not. Flamingos are actually what's called wading birds, so let's get him out of here. We've been talking about pelicans, and specifically the brown pelicans that are native to Florida. So of course, we're gonna do a craft on pelicans, and we're gonna make you guys a little pelican with his very own fish to eat. For this craft, first up, you're gonna need some googly eyes, some wooden clothing pegs, the printout from on my website. There are every month instructions and printouts to follow along with the crafts, and for this craft, you will need the printout as part of the craft. A pair of scissors, a hot glue gun, and a glue stick, and a Ziploc bag. This one's a little cut up because I'm recycling it. I used it in a different craft. So now that we have all our supplies, let's get started. First, I'm going to take the pelican cutout sheet and cut out all the pieces on this page, all his body parts and his little fish food. So now that you've cut out all of your pelican parts and your little fish, you can set aside your fish food for now, and we're gonna work on our pelican. So you're gonna need your clothespin, and the first thing we're gonna do is take the body and cut a triangle out of his face. It sounds kind of mean, but we're just making a little mouth hole for him. So once you have it like that, you're gonna cut then straight to make this two parts. So you can see you have a diagonal part and a straight part. And on the head too, it's a little harder to tell, but you should have a straight part and a slightly diagonal part. So the first thing we're gonna do is take our little head here and glue what you make sure is the straight part to the clothespin. So I'm just gonna take my hot glue gun because I found it's a little easier for this than a glue stick, and put a little bit on the flat edge of the clothespin, and then attach the flat part of the head, just like that. So next you're going to take the body and do basically the same thing. Put a line of glue on the bottom flat part, and again gluing the straight part flat against the flat part of the clothespin. So for now we have our pelican like this. Next you're going to take your beak, and you want to glue your beak not directly on the clothespin like we did with the head. The beak you're going to kind of glue on the paper edge. So for this, you can use a glue stick, and it might be just a little bit easier because using hot glue for paper isn't the best. So I'm just gonna take my glue stick and put some glue just on the end of his beak here, and then glue that just on this extended part of his face. So next we're gonna do the same thing with this piece, which is the bottom of his beak. And again, gluing it where the clothespin stops, so it's more on the paper. So again, using the glue stick. So then you're gonna add his little feet, and you can see he has these weird little bumps, and these are what his feet glue to. These are like his little thighs almost. One of them like that. It's hard to do without looking. One of them right there, and the other one on the other little thigh. Now he's got some little feet to walk around on. And then last part of his body is just this little wing. You can put glue all over it and just glue it in the middle of his body, just like that. There's his little extra wing. So then for this part I am going to use hot glue. I'm just going to glue on one googly eye to his face, just like right here where there's space on his head. Now our pelican is coming to life. So the last thing I'm going to do is sort of a personal choice, but I found it made it super fun for when you're feeding your pelican. I took this recycled plastic bag and just cut off a good amount like this. I glued this to the back of my pelican, and you can sort of see it, but it makes it so that when you feed his fish, they can stay in his pouch like in real pelicans. So when you put on your bag, you don't want to touch it down like you normally could, because it is going to kind of melt through the plastic because it's so hot. I do always try to avoid using plastic in my crafts because that's not super environmentally friendly. However, this was a plastic bag I already had, and it was going to go to waste anyways, so at least I feel a little better that I'm recycling something old. And I always encourage you guys in the crafts to use whatever you can recycled, whether it's an old plastic bag or an old bottle you had. I always try to encourage that because plastic isn't great for our environment, but it's definitely still a vital part of our everyday lives at this point, and at least we can reuse it a couple more times. So once your glue is kind of dry on there, then you just want to line the edges with the hot glue. And again, being super careful because it's going to melt the plastic a little bit. So as you can see, mine's kind of got this seal going on now, and so none of the fish can fall out. It's not super important that it's tight or anything, it'll work either way. But just make sure you have a gap at the top and that the bottom's sealed, which the bottom, we folded it in half, so it will be. So now we can push this stuff aside and bring back those fish we cut out earlier, and you can feed your fish to your pelican. And like in the wild, it'll go into his big mouth and he can swallow it. Now, in the wild, you never want to feed pelicans because oftentimes fishermen will give pelicans scraps of fish, but it's either too big for them to eat or has too many bones and can get stuck in their pouches and their throats and their stomachs. But I promise you guys, these fish are safe for our pelicans to eat. Always remember to send me your crafts, send me pictures, have your parents send it to my email on my website, and I would love to feature you guys on my page. See you guys soon!